So I have egg in my hair this morning
Egg.
because I was I've been saving the eggshells to decorate like Easter eggs, and by Easter next year I should have so many. So I blow them all out whenever, unless James wants hard-boiled eggs, which you don't
That's
seem to
rare.
want very
Yeah.
often. So
It's
I
only
figure
when
why
I'm
waste
nauseated.
the shell? So I'm using them
It's-
for artwork.
One of the few sources of protein that you can keep down when you're going through stem cell therapy. It's amazing how things that you can find disgusting, like boiled eggs, can be just the opposite.
It's green pepper juice today with
Okay.
the turmeric.
Mhm.
That's it. So it shouldn't
Okay.
taste.
We'll see. I'm not.
And I use the pulp for in your omelet.
Okay, good. Yeah, good. Skeeter is cruising for a bruising.
I should try feeding you as many lemons as I drink, and then maybe you won't have the mosquito problems.
Yeah. You're finding me
Anyway,
immensely
I'll have
attractive.
to wash this egg out of my hair. That looks pretty bad. It smells like egg too. It doesn't smell very good in my hair. Anyway, we're going to talk about 4 movies that we
Four
watched.
movies, eh?
Yes. And these 2 were okay. I mean, if you've read Metamorphosis, it's not a long story.
Mm.
How many pages was that, do you think?
50 pages, if
Yeah.
something
So
like
they
that.
made a movie about it, which is, it's a little bit, I don't know. But they did a great job.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Like
Because both of us were skeptical going into it. We're
Like,
like,
what can
how are they
happen?
going to make this insect, right? How
they basically had it narrated, right?
Yeah, and
then-
yeah, the whole thing is in his mind, in the
Sure.
insects, like it's from his, so how are you gonna, but they actually did a good job on it. I don't think they could have done a better job.
I don't think they had a lot of money, and they did actually a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So,
So it works. So if you are interested in the story, then you should definitely watch this movie. And I mean, of course, the reading it is better, wouldn't you say?
yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Here's
Huh.
the deal. I couldn't really watch it that much because I find it just too. It's too. I wouldn't call it depressing, but it's a downer, right? So.
Well, it's not a happy story. I mean, it's basically about, well, how I read the story was about a boy coming into puberty and not feeling like he's repulsive to everybody in his family and everything, to everyone.
It could be. I never got that, but.
So I don't know if James felt the same way about the story, but anyway.
It could be about that. I mean, it could just apply to a human being going through adolescence. It's kind of weird, the changes that happen. But yeah.
I suppose. So anyway, then there's this one, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, and that's a Terry Gilliam film, and it's obvious that he.
Oh, that's why it was so. It's Terry Gilliam-esque. It's Baroque, as they say. Anyway,
Well,
but not Baroque.
no,
it's just,
he
yeah.
did a good job. It's not my favorite of his films, and
No.
it's my least favorite of these that we watched in this group that we're reviewing today, by far. But it's about a filmmaker who he's working on commercial projects now, and he has a lot of money, and he wants to go back to his passion projects that he did in his youth. So I think it's pretty much, it's really about the filmmaker himself. So, and given that, I would say that Terry Gilliam is not very fond of Putin, but is somewhat pro-Muslim. Whatever. So that's the film in a nutshell. I don't know if you need to watch it to get that message. He's into making passion projects again. whatever. So we might see some good films from Terry
What was
Gilliam.
that crazy film that went kerplop with Johnny Depp in it? What was it about?
Can't remember.
It was in Spain,
What-
wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be in this sort of project. So it might be about that too. I
That
thought it
might be
was
his way of.
saying, you know,
finishing it
I want to do my passion stuff,
Mhm.
and the commercial stuff got in the way of me making that film. Which it might
Sorry
be
to see.
that, right? But anyway, what was that one called? We watched that with Johnny
We
Depp.
watched the documentary.
The documentary,
about
yeah, because
Big
they didn't
Bowling
end up
Kerplop.
finishing it.
No. It just got out of hand. I kind of
Yeah.
wonder if Gilliam is, and this isn't in the best possible way, is maybe hypomanic or something like that.
Yeah.
Because he does the cartoons, he does
Mhm.
this sort of stuff.
Oh, he's awesome. And usually people who are manic depressive or whatever, they really contribute to society in a positive
They
way.
can.
Yeah. So we all benefit.
I just said hypo
It's-
because I'm not sure how.
Depressed he gets. Yeah, I know a lot. We've known a lot of people. Anyway, who have those tendencies, and they get a lot of great things done too.
Well, like Pete Townsend, he finally got finished up a project that went kerplop about 1970. And from it came the Who's best-selling album, Who's Next. It was, it probably was intended to be a double album or more. And he couldn't get it together. He had to break them again.
So the best ones are these two. And I will talk about this one first, Divorced Dad, which is a Canadian project. And
Very good Canadian content.
very good. It's really low budget. It seems like a film school project, but it may not have even been. It's so low budget, but so great. These guys,
Shoestring
they're
budget is just one
a
shoestring.
few guys that
Yeah.
get together and decide to do this project entirely on their own. Like it's amazing. So
Mhm.
I laughed quite a few times,
And quite energetic.
it's only
too.
49 minutes long.
That's too bad. Yeah.
I know. Because I think they hopefully they get picked up by some TV channel or something, and they actually put this into a series because
So much better.
yeah.
Like it seemed, like 49 minutes. How many did they have? Like maybe 6 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
They were very short.
Yeah, really funny stuff.
It's some of it was okay, but I mean
Yeah.
it's that way with comedy. So
Sure.
it was quite fun.
And the acting was great.
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
One guy especially, like the sidekick, he's got to have acting experience of some description, because he's playing someone who can't act, which he's
Yeah.
deadpan.
Alcoholic guy. Yeah.
Well, he's always sipping something, and you figure because the way he's acting, he gets more and more slosh as the episode goes.
And you can see that he really appreciated Trailer Park Boys and Randy in particular.
That's right.
Yeah.
Not Ricky, but Randy.
I guess he's kind of a cross between Randy and Leahy in this. This is the energy he's trying to pull.
I'm not sure what it is. There might be a bit of Julian there, like he's French. Because that's his real name. We call him Giles, but I think it's Gilles. Anyway, it's hilarious. But yeah, he does this deadpan, and then things go wrong on the set, and then all of a sudden he's screaming, and you that's supposed to be the real acting. Right? So he does it like so many people when they are not used to being in front of a camera. Some people, they look like a deer in the headlights. Some people, it's just like very low affect, And that's the way he is most of the time.
Yeah, I hope this guy
Sounds
ends
as
up
though he's reading the stuff. Like I said, it
great
sounds as though he was
success. I want to
phoning it
see
in.
more of him. So awesome.
No?
Well, I want to see more of
Both of these guys.
that were on this. Well, and there were only 4 people I think involved in this project.
Okay.
Incredible. So I mean, they probably all pulled their weight, because 4 people to come up with that, awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, now I have to talk about this one, secretary, and its secret is in bold of that, and it's because the secretary keeps the secrets of the
Originally, that's
Rustic,
I'm told
yeah.
that's the
And
meaning of secretary.
she certainly keeps his secrets in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides the fact that we get to see it as the viewer, and this is a very believable story. I can tell you that because this is basically pretty identical kind of characters to
You know, that's someone you know, right?
me and my ex-boyfriend.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So, now I got together with him when I was a teenager, and he knew exactly who he was. So there wasn't all the, like with her, she's pulling him free to be himself. Do you get that impression in this story?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So she's very into it. They both need this in their life. And now I borrowed this from the library. This one came in from Tabor, so I had to borrow it from a little bit far, but within our library system. And so it didn't take long to get to me. I had to borrow it because I had mentioned it in my last blog post that I had watched it when I was young, and I did watch it because I know the story off by heart, you know, and I lived it pretty much. So, but I was pulling the numbers. I'm like 2000. It was made in 2002, so I would have watched it on release on VHS or DVD, whatever, in 2003. So that doesn't make sense, I'm thinking, because I was already here in Lethbridge in 2003, and my memory is not of me watching it in 2003. It's me watching it when I first got together with my boyfriend, with his family. And all I have to say is, if you're a submissive and things are going where you don't need that anymore, and your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever, still needs that, needs you to be who you were, they're going to try to force you to be who you were. So they're going to try to get you down. And he was trying to convince me that I was bipolar because I shared the tendencies that the character in this movie, she had, and when I was a teenager, but I was just going through a very depressed period, and I was anorexic when he ran into me, which those can pull out those tendencies too, I learned. So anyway, he was trying to convince me
Bipolar,
about
total misdiagnosis. You know,
yeah,
like
I'm not at all.
No.
And I
like no problem with drugs. You know what I'm saying? Very good with money. Awesome with money. I mean, people are bipolar when they're manic. The money just flies.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, as a submissive,
those
I was
two
able
things.
to take care of my dominant. He was at home, I was working. It was not the same sort of situation as her and her husband ended up having.
Here's another thing. Potty mouth. I think I have more potty mouth than you, and I don't really have
Yeah,
it.
except when I get really stressed out, then I start smoking and swearing a lot. But I haven't done that in years because I have somebody that actually cares about me now and is not trying to force me to be depressed so that they can use me how they need to use me. So,
About the only thing that happens when she gets stressed is she drinks 1 cup of coffee a day in the morning.
yeah, but
Sometimes a couple. Right? Do you
yeah,
drink a couple?
but right now it's hot lemon and honey. So anyway,
So that's 3 things. You see what I'm saying?
yes.
So it's just like narrowing stuff
So
down.
he was trying to convince me that I was bipolar at that time. So this would have been 2003, I guess, right? Would it have been just before we got together then? So it was really bad between my boyfriend and I then, because he knew he did not have a hold on me anymore. And I started taking antidepressant, anti-anxiety pills, which that just totally freed me up. But he was trying all of these mind games on me. And so what actually helped me is I would, for years he'd been playing them to keep me down. He needed me to be a certain way.
He's a very smart guy.
He was a genius.
And
He could have done anything.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So
And I totally worshipped him. And I totally worship my husband now. But anyway, so I he I there were for years he'd say something and I'd say talk about how he'd said it or whatever. I'd go back to the discussion. He'd say I never said that, or that never happened, or whatever. He'd do something. He'd say it didn't happen, and I'd be like, well, maybe my memory is faulty. Maybe things. So he was playing with that for years, and it didn't matter really to me at the time. It was like, well, maybe I haven't messed up, and whatever. But then at this point, he was really he was trying to convince me that I had mental problems and this and that, and he needed me to take care of him, and so he needed to convince me that I needed him to take care of me. So anyway, it was screwed up, and it got to the point, it was really bad. I had to get out of it. It was,
So basically you were playing Superwoman, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd go to work. We won't talk about all the stuff that you had to babysit him, but he wouldn't do stuff at home
No.
to help you out.
But he was trying to stress me out, because the more he could stress me out, the more he could use me how he needed to use me. So he had to keep me stressed out. He had to keep me depressed. So once I went on the anti-anxiety, antidepressant pills that the doctor prescribed, well, he had no control over me, because I couldn't stay stressed out. The pills were such that I couldn't keep going in worry circles, right? So I couldn't keep.
You just figured out that yesterday that the pills helped you.
Yeah, but for a long time I thought I don't need these, but I did just to get out of that.
That's the only thing it helped you out with.
Yeah, because he couldn't use me that way. Like, I wouldn't have needed them had I not been with him, and I haven't needed them because I haven't been with him.
Yeah, like when Pauline and I got together just a few months later. Understand, I didn't steal Pauline from that guy, right?
No.
He'd already said he was clearing the place, and he apparently said it several times. I can say that. And finally he just said, okay. And then he was all devastated. And
Well,
stuff
what
like
he used to do is he'd when he could see that I was really upset and I was ready to leave, he would get in a fight with me, and he'd say, I'm going, or whatever, I can't be here anymore, I'm leaving. And so I'd be like, oh, no, please don't go, I'll do anything. And then I'd hate myself, because I'd have to do anything, and I'd agreed to it. But
thanks to the antidepressant. The antidepressant was prescribed because you couldn't sleep as a misdiagnosis.
yeah,
Because Pauline had horrible pain in her wrist.
yeah, I'd shoot up my arm.
From
Anyway.
handling secateurs.
And so finally I couldn't bend my wrist anymore. But anyway, it got me out of that relationship,
So the doctor
which
was
would have
figuring
destroyed
it
me.
The doctor was figuring it as a mental problem.
So
It's
he
totally
was,
physical.
yeah, but it was, anyway, so, and that took years to get
so
better.
I was just saying to
But-
Pauline, I don't think you need them. I wasn't saying get off them.
No,
I said
So
whatever you think you need, you should
yeah,
be
so I
taking.
got off of them and I didn't need them. But anyway, so, in June, he said that he was going to leave, and I said, okay, so when will you be gone? And it was completely different than it had ever been before. It didn't work for him, and he was like, oh, well, it'll take me a while to get my stuff out of here, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he wasn't going. It was months he was not going. Anyway, back to the movie, though.
I came into the picture like 5 months after that.
Yeah, he was gone by then. But he kept
not his
coming
stuff.
back. Like,
His
he
stuff
kept...
wasn't gone.
No, we moved it out. But,
We waited a long time, incidentally. It wasn't like
No, we
some
moved it out
woman throwing stuff
No,
out
no,
on
no.
the-
We rented a
actually-
moving truck, and we were very gentle with his things, and
No.
he thanked me for
Yeah,
having done it.
There were heavy
It was-
motorcycles and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Anyway.
I mean, we almost broke both of our backs getting one of the motorcycles onto the U-Haul, and someone actually volunteered to help us. So we delivered it right onto the lot where he lived. So it wasn't like dumping stuff out in the
No.
street the way you see in the movies and the way it, I think, happens in real life.
But long story short, he had convinced me that I had watched this movie somehow without, I don't even know if he meant to, but I had a totally different memory of when I watched this movie. It was when I remember watching this movie, and I still remember it this way. I don't remember watching it here. I remember watching it back when we'd first gotten together.
In a different city.
Completely different place with other people, and I can't
12 years
know
before.
who I watched it with. I would have watched it with him, but
So you're off
so
by
anyway,
12 years possibly.
if you're submissive and you're in that sort of relationship, you cannot trust anybody else. You can't trust yourself. You have to start recording. Get a video camera, get a tape recorder, whatever. You have to start recording everything when you're at home with him all the time, just to remind yourself that you are remembering things correctly, and keep it in your head, because he's going to try to destroy you. He will. And if you don't make sure, he will do it. And you'll stay right there until you're done. You're done. So, now, having said that, this couple in this movie, they're a beautiful couple. And, I think it's a great movie. It's awesome. Everybody should watch that movie, especially every submissive.
Mm-hmm.
And every submissive needs to read Pat Califfi. You need to read it, all of it, so you understand what's going on.
And one thing that should be made clear is you're finding this out just maybe a month or two after I found out about it. Pauline was with me for over 15 years. And waited until the guy died before she told me. Basically what I knew about the guy was a few things that, Pauline would talk about stuff. Things slipped, right? And then I'd met the guy maybe 3 times, and it was, like the Beach Boys sang a song called Good Vibrations. Well, this is like bad vibrations. I mean, it's not the worst vibrations I've ever got, but there were some bad vibrations. And he tried to mess around with my mind one time. Can I talk about it just a little bit? He didn't really know me, and it was in the library. I mean, it was embarrassing, but I was not embarrassed for myself, because he just went on and on and on. I was just saying, yeah, you're right, maybe, could be. Yeah, what he was doing was just flailing around, trying to find some way to hit me. He didn't know me. Like with Pauline, he'd end up knowing all the, where her glass jaw was and stuff like that. And it would have been amusing, except, he was about 30 years old at that point in time. He was kind of doing 13-year-old stuff. So I know the kind of manipulation that he was doing. He was trying to dredge up anything that he could, right? And he didn't have anything on me. And stuff like that. So I already knew to a large extent what he was like, and it just became a matter of, like I kind of had a, when you get the jigsaw puzzle and you get the outline, it just becomes a matter of filling in stuff, right? Yeah. And so you filled in the details. So I already had the outline. He provided it for me. So there we go. But at any rate, Pauline has been very patient. I know she was very patient with him, and she was very protective of him. So there we go. It's not as though she's just like blabbing this out and all this sort of stuff, was doing it all along or anything like that. It's hard for her to actually say it. So there you go.